Okay, so I'm going to be talking about how I would plan a workshop for children who have challenging behaviour or learning difficulties. I would always start off my workshop with what the day is going to consist of, so what the workshop's going to consist of. So how each step is going to go. So I'm going to say we'll start off with a warm-up, then the activity that I would be doing and how it may end, or however else I would do the workshop. I'd always start the workshop with a focus. So tell them the focus of this workshop, what we're aiming to do. So what if it's like, for this workshop I planned under the sea themed. So every activity that we do will always be linked to under the sea, and always be linked to under the sea. So I would always start the workshop up on our feet, because you don't want the children sitting down and then all the energy gets brought down. So we all start up on our feet and we all start together. So I'd probably do like a name game, so everyone knows each other's names, even if they've been together for a couple of weeks. You always have to go over the names, because you never know, you could forget a name and you don't want to feel awkward if you want to call that person and you don't know their name. And I'd make sure it's an energetic game. So for the name game, you could throw bean bags, but you could have like 3 bean bags going out at the same time. So you could start with the name, your favourite food, and your favourite colour, and that will keep everyone's eyes focused and on the ball and very active. Then you could probably do a game like EastEnders, where you have to use your voice and projection and actions, so that will probably help the children to feel a bit more comfortable in the surroundings that they're in. Then I would break the big group apart, because a lot of the time if you want to discuss things in a big group, people feel quite awkward and feel like they can't really say things. So it's always good to either pair people up and then speak in a big group. So then I would make them do a activity like a very physical, well, not really physical, but kind of physical activity, where you have to have at least a bit of contact, so you feel a bit more comfortable with the people around you again, because obviously you don't want it to feel like everyone's very by themselves. And also I would make sure that the activity doesn't have too much reading, because at Chicken Shed, a lot of the children do like to do scripted things, but there are always going to be like at least 1 or 2 people who don't feel comfortable with reading. And obviously having everyone with scripts, they'll feel very like a bit shut down, like frozen, because they don't know what to do, because they know they don't feel comfortable with reading. So I would always try and either work around it. So I'd probably have scripts, but then say, you guys don't need to use the scripts, you guys could make things up throughout it, you guys can do your own thing, you don't have to talk. Maybe you could mime what's happening in the scene and things like that, so that they don't feel restricted to, oh, I have to read this, or oh, I need to learn these lines because I can't read it off the paper. Also, lastly, I would always make them show after an activity to the whole group, because obviously if there's a group that's very proud of their work, if they don't get to show it, they might feel a bit disheartened because they didn't get to show everyone what they had done. So I'd always make sure that they choose to show it. Like, not everyone has to show it, it's your choice, so they don't feel very uncomfortable with their surroundings. Then I'd probably do another activity where they swap groups again, because you don't want to stick with the same people, you want to get to know a lot of people. So swap again and do another activity that might either link to what the last activity was. So it could be, okay, can you make a second scene in that second group, and then at the end you guys bring it all together. Then I would do another activity to end it off all together again, because obviously we've done a lot of separate work, so before the ending we just bring it all together and do another activity, like maybe learn a song. So obviously, because I said the theme underwater, we could do the song Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, just to bring it all back together again, and everyone can leave on a high note. So for every workshop that I do, I'd always want to make sure they leave on a high note and leave together and not alone and not in separate groups, because you don't know what's happening in them separate groups, because it's very hard to get around all the groups. So if they're having a bad time in that group and you bring them all together, their mind kind of drifts away from what just happened and they just remember the togetherness at the end. Or if they don't feel comfortable with singing, like at Chicken Shed, we have 3 separate groups, so they could go back to their 3 separate groups and maybe do play Splat, or do another EastEnders game, just as long as they leave very energetic and happy with what they had done. But that's what I would do. Also, work that has been carried out in South London for children with challenging behaviour is things like Chicken Shed, things like Chicken Shed, like how we're doing Tales of the Shed, bringing loads of children together of all ages and all abilities. So I think that things like performing arts companies are really good, especially inclusive performing arts companies are really good, because it just builds the children's confidence, really. But yeah.